And I now call this meeting of the Bloomington Planning Commission to order. This meeting is being held virtually via live stream. Public comment was accepted up until 15 minutes before the start of the meeting. And with that, we will move on to a quick roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour.
Pardon me?
We're
Yes,
just
here.
here. Mr. Stanzik.
Here.
Mr. Dannenberger. Mr. Boyd.
Here.
Mr. Mulek. Mr. Krieger.
Here.
Mr. Moore. Ms. Motney.
Here.
Ms. McCann. Chairperson Hayden.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Due to some time constraints of our quorum, we are going to skip public comment and review of the minutes on our agenda. The minutes, we will actually push that onto our next meeting agenda to review and start with our regular agenda items. We'll go back to public comments at the close of our regular agenda. So at this time, we are going to combine items A and B on our agenda. So we will see a presentation from staff on Z-07-21 and PS-03-21 public hearing review and action on petition submitted by Ron Block, the manager of Do It Farms LLC.
Okay.
Could we have a statement just from the applicant as to whether there's any objection to proceeding that way?
Julia Davis here on behalf of the petitioner, and we have no objection.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Staff is recommending in favor of case Z07-21, which is a zoning map amendment request to rezone the subject property from R1A single family residential to R1B single family residential. The subject property for the rezoning is 3.75 acres. Another case that is on the agenda tonight that I'll handle concurrent with this presentation is for PS 03-21, which is a preliminary plan for the entire 4.99 acres under consideration at 200 North Belmont Road. So before you is an aerial of the area that is subject to be rezoned. It's 3.75 acres of a larger 4.99 acre tract of land. The petitioner is requesting the change to R1B from R1A for the eastern portion of the subject property. The western portion would remain R1A single family residential. The adjacent zoning on the properties to the north, we have R3A, which is a low density multifamily that allows up to 29 units per acre. To the south is R1B, which is consistent with the map amendment that's requested tonight. The R1B district allows up to 6 units per acre, single family only. No duplexes or multifamily is allowed in that district. And then to the west is R1A, which is a low density single family residential district. It allows up to 2 units per acre with a minimum half acre lot size. Here are some photos of the subject property. The property is currently, or was previously improved with a single family home on a large estate lot. It's one of our largest single family home lots in the city still. The house was demolished previously this year. And so what you're seeing here in the photo is a picture of the garage, which is still remaining. The property owner is requesting the map amendment to then facilitate improvement of this parcel into 9 single family lots, which I'll talk about here in just a second with the preliminary plan. But the map amendment request would allow for single family homes on on this 5-acre piece of land. So it would allow the property owner to subdivide and then put up more single-family homes. Looking at the comprehensive plan, our Bloomington's plan calls out the need for diverse housing options. So Planning Commission in the past, we've seen requests for mobile home parks, we've seen requests for apartments. You know, the request tonight is for single family housing, which adds to that housing stock. This is also an infill area. It has access to existing city services, and that is a goal of the comp plan as well, is to look at vacant and underutilized land and how we can redevelop that, taking advantage of the existing services and existing infrastructure. And just kind of highlighting this, the subject property in the comprehensive plan on our future land use and infill priorities maps. There in your packet, you have the standards for a zoning map amendment. Those are also on the screen. Looking at those standards, you know, staff is supporting the requested amendment because the subject property is currently vacant and underutilized. The proposed single-family rezoning is consistent with adjacent properties and consistent with the zoning to the south. And the petitioner's request is actually, it's for the eastern portion. It's the western portion, the portion close to the R1A single-family zoning district would remain R1A, which would allow for kind of a buffer in between the larger estate lots to the west and the commercial on the far east side of Regency. So this is a nice transition and consistent with the area to the south. And it's already served by sewer and water. So in regards to the map amendment, staff is recommending in favor. I'm happy to address any questions you have about those individual factors later, but I'm gonna, Megan, if it's, Chairperson Hayden, if it's okay, I'll jump into PS 03 for
Yep,
the,
thank
thank you. So before you is an aerial of the entire 4.99 acre tract, which the applicant is also requesting the preliminary plan, which would allow for the subdivision and redevelopment of the property. The function of a preliminary plan is it serves as kind of a general concept plan that outlines where infrastructure will go. It outlines where streets will go, lots, detention basins, and it guides development and final platting for the next 3 years. Unless it's also extended, it could go a little bit longer, but generally the life is 3 years. The property is currently zoned R1A, and single family homes are allowed. With the request for R3B, the major difference between the two is just the size of the proposed lots and the amount of density that is contemplated in each district. Here is a photo of the existing infrastructure on the property. So as I mentioned, it was a single family home on a large estate lot. There are some kind of physical constraints that the developer has to work around. Pardon me. One being this combination sanitary storm sewer that bisects the property there. That is in place and that would remain. There are also existing sanitary services on the north, water and storm service on the west, and then water on the south. The proposed preliminary plan and kind of the general concept for redevelopment of the entire area would result in some new public infrastructure, specifically an extension of Belmont Road, which would terminate in a cul-de-sac to facilitate turnarounds for garbage, snow plows, emergency vehicles. And then there's also some proposed water, public water and public sanitary sewer shown here in the green and the blue. And those tie, the sanitary and the storm both tie into that existing combination sewer. The developer is showing sidewalk on both sides of Belmont Road, which is consistent with our subdivision requirements. The developer is requesting a waiver to providing sidewalk on the western portion along Mercer Avenue. Mercer Avenue would provide access to one kind of larger estate lot, which is about a ½ acre in size. And then the entire development would be served by this private detention basin. Staff is supporting the waiver request for the sidewalk because of a number of reasons, but the main one being that the sidewalk master plan really contemplates and promotes repairing existing sidewalks where they are over, constructing brand new sidewalks in areas that don't currently have sidewalk. And so, as you can see, Mercer Avenue, specifically this segment of Mercer that is between Colton and, between Regency and Towanda, has no sidewalk currently. And so staff is supporting the waiver from providing sidewalk here along this stretch right there. I can walk through the standards, but I think the most important thing here is that there are specific standards in Chapter 24 that pertain to supporting waivers. Staff has, our analysis, we find that these standards are met for the reasons primarily that there's no current sidewalk on Mercer and that it does not really align with our sidewalk master plan to require it for this portion, the 140 feet, when we still have 3,000 feet that do not have sidewalk. The Planning Commission tonight, we would ask you to vote on, findings for the waiver, and then vote on the waiver, and then vote on the findings for the subdivision, and then vote on the subdivision as well. And we can walk through that when we get to that. But as I mentioned, there's also some general guiding principles in our subdivision code for when to support a subdivision, and staff found that these are also met. And so we are recommending in favor of this proposal. And I'm done.
Thank you, Katie. Does anyone have any questions for Katie?
This is Justin. I do. Katie, could you explain or go over the density difference between the two zones real quick?
Sure. So R1A, which is what the property is currently zoned, allows for up to 2 units per acre. It has a minimum lot size of 22,500 square feet, so minimum ½ acre lot. That's consistent with the homes here on West Mercer and in the Country Club neighborhood, kind of larger estate lots. R1B is the next lowest density zoning district that we have. That also is single family homes. It allows up to 6 units per acre, and the minimum lot size is 7,000 square feet. The setbacks as well, setbacks in R1A are a little bit larger, 40-foot front yard, 40-foot rear yard. Setbacks in the R1B are 30 feet in the front yard, 30 feet in the rear yard. So it's a little bit higher density than the R1A.
Thank you. And then just real quick on the sidewalk, I want to make sure I understand. We're waiving the 140 feet because on that side of the street, there's still a large portion that wouldn't have side. So it would literally be 140-foot section on that side of the street, correct?
That's right. And that's why staff is recommending against requiring that 140 feet, because it would connect to nowhere and it would lead to nowhere.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else for Katie? All right, then at this time, I will open it up for public comment. Open up the public hearing. So at this time, do we have anyone on behalf of the petitioner who wishes to address the commission? If you do, we're going to ask name, address, swear you in. And if you're on the phone, you're going to have to press *6 to unmute.
Chairperson Hayden, our petitioners are able to join us tonight via Zoom. So Ms. Davis or Mr. Schreck.
Okay, Kate, I'm Jerry Schreck. I'm the engineer for representing the developer. And you want a name and
address, please.
Address, okay. 1600 Cutter Court in Normal.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Yeah, Katie did a great job of covering all the details on it. And for the sake of time, I won't go on unless you got questions. But one thing I wanted to clarify, Katie mentioned the sanitary or the storm sewer tying into that combination sewer. All the storm sewers being separated out from the new development and going into the basin for the project. Because that's part of one of the goals with the city engineering is to get all the combination sewers separated so that we're no longer overtaxing the sanitary sewer with more stormwater. So that was one minor detail I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Mr. Schreck. Any questions for him while we've got him sworn in? All right, Ms. Davis, do you wish to testify?
Yes.
Okay, name and address, please.
Julia Davis, 1313 East Washington Street, Bloomington, Illinois.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
As you know, I'm the attorney for the petitioner. This is our family property, and it has been in the family for many, many years before the development occurred around the property, as you can see. We had come before the Planning Commission in 2017 and ended up withdrawing our petition. At that time, we were actually looking to do more of a retirement village. And we met with a lot of objections from the neighbors. And so the developer went back and worked with the engineers to come up with this preliminary plan, which I believe meets the requirements. And we believe it will be a wonderful asset to the community. They're not quite as big as the R1A lots, but they are large sized. Nice homes will go there, and people will have access. People who work at the hospital, people who work in those areas can walk to work. They can ride their bikes to work. We think this is a great opportunity for the city. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone registered on the line who also wishes to speak in favor of the petition? Do we have anyone on the line who wishes to speak in opposition?
Chairperson Hayden, we have 3 people who have called in, two people who've called in, Mr. Greg Shepard and Mr. Robert Workman. They're both on the line.
Mr. Shepard or Mr. Workman, if you wish to address the commission on either the zoning or the plan. Mr. Shepard, you want to press *6 or mute? I think we have you twice if you want to mute one of your lines. Or someone, you want to mute one of him? All right, Mr. Shepard, we've got you on twice, and one of your lines was causing feedback. If you want to try the other one, pressing *6.
This is Robert Workman. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Mr. Workman. Mr. Shepard, we're going to ask you to mute, and we'll have Mr. Workman go first while we work on your technology.
Thank you very much. This is Robert Workman, and Workman is spelled W-E-R-K-M-A-N. I live at 104 North Regency Road. And the only concern I have when I look at
Mr. Workman, I'm going to swear you in.
Yes.
Can you please swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Yes. My only concern when it comes to housing and all the houses I've ever purchased, they look at the price of houses, selling in your area, and a lot of times that's what determines the price of your home. So the only concern I had when I looked at the lot sizes being reduced by 2/3, I didn't know if those smaller lots were going to be able to support homes in the $200,000 and up range. So I guess that's my question. Do we know what type of homes are planned to be built and what is the price range?
Mr. Workman, we'll take that question. We'll have the petitioner address it at the end of your and Mr. Shepherd's testimony.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And I do believe, Katie, we had written comments from Mr. Workman that we'd received. And the sentiment seems to be the same. So I don't know if we need to enter the written comments into the record.
Chairperson Hayden, I'll pull up the written comments and we can share them if you'd like after Mr. Shepherd's testimony.
Okay. Mr. Shepherd, it looks like you're on mute. You want to try again? State your name and address.
Greg Shepherd, can you hear me?
We can.
My address is 7028 Port Marnock Place, Lakewood Ranch, Florida, 34202.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Did you receive my letter yesterday?
I am seeing a yes from city staff.
Okay, well, I don't want to repeat what's in my letter.
Do you have any specific questions for the petitioner that we could have them address?
Well, I had an hour conversation with Jeremy yesterday and we went over my questions.
Okay.
That was before I sent you the letter.
Has the petitioner been shown the letter, Mr. Shepherd's letter?
Yes, I've seen the letter.
Okay. Do we want that letter then to be made part of the record? It sounds like Mr. Shepherd is suggesting that that would stand for his testimony.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, George.
Okay.
Let's make that part of the record.
Sounds like that. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Megan. I was just going to say, it sounds like that's it for the testimony from folks. I don't know if there's anyone else. That's up to you, Megan. Sorry about that.
Nope. Yeah. So, Ms. Davis or Mr. Schreck, do either of you want to address the question on size and type of home anticipated in the subdivision?
All I can say is that this is Julia Davis. That the size and workmanship of the home will meet the standards required of the zoning for the R1B. And if the developer stays on it and is involved with the building, then we'd have more to say. But there's some sort of noise. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Breaking up.
At this time, we're not putting any restrictions more than what is the restrictions are required under the city code.
All right. So thank you, Ms. Davis. Mr. Workman, I don't think that specifically answered your question, but maybe Ms. Davis, is it fair to say that you wouldn't be ready to answer that question until you have this approval and then can move forward with further planning?
That is correct.
I could add some information to that. As far as the lot size goes, this is Jeremy Schreck. So the R1B, like what Mr. Workman is referring to, has the minimum area that you have to have is a 7,000 square feet, which works out to be about 0.16 acres. And what we're actually have in our subdivision, the smallest lot's 0.32 acres, which is just under twice that number. And if you compare it to the other lot, like even I had the GIS pulled up. So like Mr. Workman's lot, that's a 1/4 acre lot. So these lots, the smallest lot that we're proposing is 28% larger than his, for example. And it's actually 19 feet deeper and 7 feet wider. So they are, it's a less restrictive district, but we're not proposing this minimum size. So the lots that are being proposed are really consistent with the size of lots that are existing to the south, which would allow for a consistent style and type of home, style, quality. As far as the specific home construction, though, that would be up to the individual that bought the house. They'd have to build a house conforming to the requirements, like Julia said. But as far as the lots go, they're of a size consistent with the existing lots to the south.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schreck. Mr. Workman or Mr. Shepherd, did you have any additional questions or comments? Is there anyone else?
Oh, can you hear me? This is Bob Workman.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the lot sizes proposed are larger, especially larger than my size. My only question would be, is the drawing that I saw and the size of the lots that are there currently, is that a firm commitment? Or once we go to R1B, can those lot sizes all of a sudden be reduced for more housing? What's the plan?
Do you want me to answer that? This is Julia Davis for the petitioner. That's why we're seeking approval of the preliminary plan at this time with the rezoning at the same time.
Yep,
So we're asking for the subdivision to be approved, Mr. Workman.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there are no plans to make the lot sizes smaller if R1B is approved.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Shepherd, any other questions or comments from you?
No, thanks.
All right, thank you both. Then at this time, I am going to close the public hearing portion for both of these cases. Open it up.
I'm sorry, Chairperson Hayden. I just wanted to let you know we did receive an email from Mr. Shepherd with the letter and Mr. Workman, and then also received an email from Ms. Dodson. So I have those on the screen right now, and we can enter those into the public record. I'll just briefly go over them. They were shared with the commission as well as the petitioners in advance.
Thank you, Katie.
Katie, I know you had stated that there were 2 people on the call to speak against the petition. Is there anyone physically present at City Hall, and do we have any other people wanting to testify?
No one else is present at City Hall, and no one else registered.
Thank you.
So at this time, we'll open it up for discussion amongst the commission. Just to summarize, we're going to end up with 6 motions. So 2 on the zoning, 2 on the waivers, 2 on the subdivision plan.
With respect to zoning case number Z07-21, which is item 5A, I would move that we find that the standards for rezoning have been met.
This is Justin. I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour.
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik.
Yes.
Mr. Boyd.
Yes.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Ms. Motney.
Yes.
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
findings for the map amendment are approved.
I move we recommend rezoning the property.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Okay, the rezoning moves forward with positive recommendation.
This is Justin. Regarding case number PS-03-21, I motion to establish the findings of fact regarding the waiver submitted by the petitioner.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Motney. Any discussion?
Does that mean that you're endorsing the findings of fact as they appear in the staff report, Justin?
That's correct.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
Yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Okay. We would just need a motion on the waiver.
Yep, so that was adopting findings of fact, so need a motion to actually recommend approval of the waiver.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Waiver.
And then findings of fact on the subdivision plan.
This is Justin. I'll motion to establish findings of fact on the proposed subdivision.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes. And then last would be recommendation to council on the plan.
Motion to recommend city council approve the preliminary plan for the Davis Block subdivision with the requested waiver.
Second.
Second from Mr. Krieger. Roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Motion carries. This will go to City Council at the second meeting in April. Or, I'm sorry, no, yes, second meeting in April.
Chairperson, this is Justin. I would like to make a motion that we table item C until our next meeting in April.
Do we have
I'll
a second?
I'll second that.
So just some quick discussion before we roll call. We would need 4 motions on this as well. And I don't think we'll get through the presentation and the motions in 6 minutes. So to all the petitioners on the line for PR-02-21, we apologize and appreciate your understanding and patience for technology issues and just some unexpected circumstances for tonight. But again, sincerely apologize, and we'll make sure we get through you first on April the 14th. So with that, let's do a roll call vote, please, on the motion to table PR-02-21 to our next meeting.
Mr. St. Amour,
I abstain.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
yes,
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Okay.
That motion carries, which concludes our regular agenda. At this time, we'll go back to public comment. So that would be item 3 on our agenda. That's a time for people to address the commission on any items that did not appear on our agenda. I don't believe we had anyone registered for public comment. Okay. Meeting minutes we can maybe get to in with our 5 minutes. So reviewing the minutes of the March 10th regular meeting. Did anyone have any corrections to those minutes?
I'll motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. St. Amour,
Yes.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Ms. Motney,
Abstain.
Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Okay.
That would take us to item 6. We don't have any old business, so we'll go to item 7, new business. We do have one new commissioner. So Katie, I don't know if you want to do the introduction.
Thank you. Brady St. Amour is with us on the phone. I will let him provide his background, but we thank him for joining us tonight so we could have a quorum.
My background?
We can also do this next meeting if you'd like. That way you'll have video as well. So.
Okay.
Well, welcome, Mr. St. Amour, and we greatly appreciate you jumping on the phone to make sure that we could hear some cases today, and glad to have you on the commission.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Is there any other new business?
This
Just
is-
me, I want the record to reflect that I did not jinx you on the public comment.
Let the record reflect.
This is Justin. I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.